So on the other side of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the Philadelphia Eagles are 4-2 with a lesser record than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And they have a little extra time from last Thursday night when they fell to the G-Men.
Yes.
They're heading to Minnesota next. I don't know that this is a good thing for the Vikings to be getting the Eagles now, because it's like wounded raccoon that's being cornered, right? You don't
Well, that's what the Giants thought too, though. That's what I thought as a Giants fan. So I was like, oh, no, they lost.
Now it's really wounded.
Yeah.
You know, it's got those little hands, you know, and they hiss. Like, I don't know that I want to mess with the Eagles right now. But they still have issues with the offense. And on Tuesday, Kevin Patullo, the first-year offensive coordinator, addressed the media. And among other things, he talked about the Eagles' offense trying to find its way. Here he is.
I mean, last year we had some kind of weird things going on that we needed to work through and continue to throughout the year. I think that's a lot of teams that are in this spot right now. If you watch around the league, there's a lot of teams that are kind of still finding their way. Whether it's personnel, whatever it is. And I think that's kind of where we're at. And we've got great players, and they're all into it, and the energy's high. And we know we can be what we want as we, work forward.
Yeah. Words. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. All is well. Everything is fine. They say what they have to say.
That's right.
Cliche factory. Just say all the right things, get through the question, and wait for the next question. The real question is this: what the hell's going on with your quarterback, your receiver, and now your running back?
Right.
The 3-hour meeting that the receiver's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
The other two guys said you had the meeting. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. So there's some stuff going on, and that's a real question. With this mini bye, what, if anything, have they done to bury the hatchet, to get past it, to come together? Chris, does this go like 2024, where they got their asses kicked in Tampa Bay and it was the spark toward the Super Bowl run? Or does it go like 2023, where they start 10-1, they had that rough game against the 49ers, the one where Dom got sent to the showers and banished from the sidelines for the rest of the regular season, and then they got their asses kicked in Tampa Bay to end their one-and-done playoff run? Like, which way is this going to skew? We've seen this movie twice now. One way, happy ending. One way, not happy ending. Which way is this one going to go? That's really the question.
I know, and I don't know either, right? Because it's like you've said, we've seen both. We got personalities that are certainly explosive, so that's where it can teeter there in Philadelphia. There needs to be some positive stuff that happens, I think, to get it back on the right track and get everybody loving and believing in each other and all that. But we saw them fight for some early season struggles last year, and then they figured it out, like Kevin Patullo was talking about, and then boom, all of a sudden they're like, early November, it's like, well, they're the best team in football. Now, I don't think it's coming in early November that we're going to be saying that, but this is a team that's got championship culture. So could they battle out of this? Certainly. But I'm extremely excited to see what they do here. Did a little extra time. What are they going to add to the offense? Is there going to be more to it? They're clearly the most disappointing unit in all of football. We've talked about it at length. I mean, you can go to any position and go, they're elite there. They're elite. It's the O-line, the receivers, the tight end, the running back, the quarterback, all of it. But where does it go from here? And do they find some new formations and new wrinkles? Do they decide to maybe make the running game more advanced? I don't know where they're going to go, because they're in this little small box there in Philadelphia where they're like, nope, we just run this right here and we don't do anything more than that. And I just don't know. Are they going to break down one of those walls and go, okay, here, no, we're going to add this to the offense too? And quarterback and everybody, you're going to have to get used to it. There's going to be some mental gymnastics, but we're going to have to work it out. That's the big question, Mike, because at the game with the G-Men last week, I think I told you this, but the way the game started and everything, I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, I'm scared. The Giants are going to play defense like this. They're going to play 5 men on the defensive line and play aggressive coverages. And I'm like, oh, he's just going to throw it up to A.J. Brown, and here we go. That's what's going to happen. But the Giants knew better. They went, no, they're going to try to run the ball with Saquon. We're going to stop that. We're not going to let Jalen Hurts just sit back there and then run for a first down. And they felt comfortable with their boring pass concepts that they could play man in some aggressive coverages and stop them. They basically said, we don't think you, the Eagles, and your passing game can beat us. The New York Giants said that to the Philadelphia Eagles. And, of course, we're right. And that, to me, is crazy that you could play that team and that style of football and feel good about it, but that tells you about the problems they got right now.
It all comes back to how simple and predictable basic the offense is.
Right.
That's another thing that Kevin Patullo, the offensive coordinator, addressed yesterday. Here he is on the perception/reality that the Eagles' offense is too damn predictable.
I think the comment Lane had and what's great about the players is the communication with all of us is constant, right? Whether it's during game, whether it's during the week, even on days off, things like that. So that's been really, really good and productive for us. When you talk about the situational stuff and or the predictability, you just got to look at kind of where the whole context is. And I think that's what kind of the last day or so, over the weekend things, we were able to kind of look at where we were, where we are, where we want to go, and what we know, we need to kind of do to go forward. And I think it was very productive. We had a good meeting yesterday as an offensive unit, and so I think we're in a good spot working forward.
Words.
Yeah.
Next question.
Right.
That's all I heard.
Well,
blah, blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. Like the teacher in Charlie Brown. Blah, 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 blah. Like there's nothing there. And I understand that they do this and you make them available and they're never going to say anything good. Jason Garrett talks about this. Like you want these guys to say something interesting, but then you use it against them when they do. Like that's exactly the messaging that the Eagles need. They're very good at nothing to see here, no sudden moves. We're very boring, as is our offense. But that's what it comes back to.
Yeah.
What's really going to change? Because there's an, I don't want to call it arrogance, but a stubbornness, I think, institutionally. We're the champions. We just do what the champions do. Like, we don't need to change anything. Well, maybe we need to change something. And if they do change something, are they admitting that they needed to change something? We're the champions. At what point do they bottom out and rip up the playbook and start over? And I'm not hearing anything to suggest the kind of five-alarm fire that you would need to see coming from Kevin Patullo or Nick Sirianni to make us think that they've looked in the mirror and said, we look like shit. We need to do something about this.
Yeah.
I don't get the sense they've acknowledged that yet.
Well,
maybe they never will.
Right. Well, it's interesting. I think there's a lot to this subject. First off, when you have players on your offense after games going, we need to be less predictable, they're saying that because literally they played a game and the other team called out plays, right? Even within that and them being predictable, we knew there were still plays there to be had that could have made that game more competitive. The interception as they're going into the end zone, I mean, the basic rule for that play, all-out blitz, is you throw the post down the middle to A.J. Brown for a walk-in touchdown. Nobody around, right? Boom.
Wide open.
Right. So
wide open.
So
not wide open.
Exactly.
The was on the outside. He had the feet wide open.
That's right. So within that right there, the Eagles are going to go back and look at film and look at stuff and study themselves and go, even though we're boring and predictable, we still got people here and there, and we didn't capitalize even though we're boring. And to your point with what Kevin Patullo said there and everything, yeah, I think he gave a roundabout answer to basically say, hey, that box Chris Simms was talking about? We're not actually going to get outside of that box. We're just going to kind of rearrange the inside of the box and maybe how we call the game with those plays there. That's what he's telling you there. And then I'll go back to what I've always told you, and this is what I believe, and this is where you said it's like they don't realize they have to do something or change it. It hasn't hit them in the face yet. No, I think they realize they can't change anything because their quarterback's just not going to stand for it. As you've heard me say many a times, I watched Nick Sirianni as an offensive coordinator with the Colts. His offense had a million answers. It was awesome. That's why he got the head coaching job with the Eagles. It was like a Shane Steichen type offense. It was, whoa, everything you do, they got an answer. That's not the case anymore. I don't think Nick Sirianni got dumber and forgot how to coach offense. I think, and I've heard this and I know this from people down there that have been there, that are still there, whatever. They're not allowed to change a whole lot on the offensive side of the ball. The quarterback will not stand for it. And because of that, that's why I think you see all these tippy-toe comments from everybody in Philadelphia. Because the truth of the matter is they can't say it. So they have to give you these bullcrap jargon type of things to say, like you said, words, because they're a little stuck in what they can do right now. And I think that's the ultimate problem going on in Philadelphia.
So at what point does somebody sit down with the quarterback and have a hard conversation? Is that just not going to happen?
It doesn't seem. I mean, right now, he's the quarterback. He's the man. He's beloved. You know, I mean,
after last week, I didn't listen to your drive time spot on WIP Sports Radio, so I don't know what the call
Well,
is.
I feel like,
they weren't happy.
To your point, I feel like last week was one of the first times ever on social media I felt like people were like, maybe Jalen Hurts is the problem. Like it's like it was the first time ever. Like they watched it on Thursday night and they were kind of like, whoa, okay. Yeah, there were people open and whoa, that didn't look good. But at the same time, he's been Teflon Don for the most part as far as that's concerned to this point. And like I've told you, there's a disconnect between what the league thinks of Jalen Hurts and what the public thinks, especially the public in Eastern Pennsylvania. They think he's way up here. And, yeah, I'm the guy that's going, no, the team's way up here. He's a little bit farther down. And he's the reason the team looks a little farther down than it should be. And that's my 2 cents. And I just we'll see. I don't know what they're going to do to reorganize and adjust this offense.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.